Welcome to podcast number 20. So today we've booted man who met a muddy end. Paintings found inside a coffin. Article number 1. Found unfortunate booted man who met his muddy end 500 years ago. Oh no! The footwear would have been well suited to trampling through the London muds that preserved it. Now, I thought they had cobbles or stone. Anyway, beneath London is a layer cake. Oh, I like cake. Thousands of years of civilization stacked atop on one another. The shores of the Thames, wherever an excavator hits soil, which happens a lot, there is a possibility of a chance encounter with old bits of leather and pieces of shipwreck, or the bones of long-forgotten urban residents preserved in or by the muddy shores. Recent discovery in London has archaeologists scratching their heads. It is the skeleton of a man lying face down with an arm splayed dramatically over his head. Maybe he died thinking, where do I go next? His most distinguishing feature? His footwear. The skeletal remains are clad in the remarkably intact thigh-high leather boots, resulting in his nickname, Booted Man. We find a lot of skeletons, but you don't often find a skeleton lying on his belly with his boots on, says Lucy Alterborough, conservator at the Museum of London Archaeology, Molar. It's quite unusual to find that much leather on a person lying flat on the shore of the river. It's a bit of a mystery. Luckily, there are some clues. We have a murder mystery case. Or a mystery case. Historians specialising in leather believe the man boots date to the late 15th century. Leather was an expensive and prized material at the time, and specialists at Molar think the boots would have been ideal for sticky mud along the shores of the river. This particular pair were reinforced with extra soles. And they've got a picture of it. They look remarkably preserved. Yes, they're muddy and they're a bit kind of t-shirt material now, but they would have been stronger in 500 years ago. They would have been stronger. By studying the boots, we've been able to gain a fascinating insight into the daily life of a man who lived as many as 500 years ago, said Mrs. Richardson, a fine specialist at Molar, in a statement. They have helped us better to understand how he may have made his living in a hazardous and difficult conditions, but also how he may have died. Analysis of the bones reveals a harrowing life and death. His final position suggests the booted man died after falling in the mud, after which his remains were covered by settlement. An osteo examination shows that the fatal fall wasn't his only misfortune. His bones indicate multiple healed breaks, as well as evidence of osteoarthritis. Also discovered deep grooves along his teeth, suggesting that he might have spent much time using them to hold something, possibly a fishing rope. Deep grooves. Now, if it was me, he could have been a fisherman and he could have gone to the pub and spent too many time in the outhouse and promptly fell overboard, or promptly fell over the thing, or grooves in his teeth, he could have held a pipe. You don't know. Those are two possibilities. Anyway, that's what I think. That's the question we'll never really have the answer to. His boots are probably an indicator of his job, mudlarking or fishing, but there's so much we don't know. The wet soil where the booted man was found proves a perfect condition to preserve leather and human remains. This kind of clay is really dense and it dries rock hard. You've got a layer of organic graded in it, so it smells fishy and you can really tell you're by the river. The man was found 20 feet down during excavations of the Thames tideway tunnels. The site of the discovery location is a bend in the river close to where the medieval Bermondsey Wall once stood. Now, I've told you what I think he was there for. What was he there for? Put it in the comments down below. Anyway, we are moving on to Article 2. Excuse me. Don't have the corona. That's a beer name. Article 2. It's by the Daily Mail. Paintings are discovered inside the coffin of a 3,000-year-old Egyptian mummy after she was lifted out of it for the first time in more than a century. Ooh, how exciting. Paintings has been discovered inside the coffin of an Egyptian mummy after she was lifted out of for the first time in more than 100 years. Conservators made the discovery during a work to conserve Tarkabia, pronounced Kahib, believed to be a priestess or a princess. Priestess or princess, that was really high. The mummy, which is nearly 3,000 years old, was in a fragile condition after being targeted by grave robbers throughout history. Oh, naughty people. Work has been required to ensure her condition did not degenerate further before her remains are displayed at the new City Hall Museum in Perth, Scotland. Conservators were surprised to find painted figures of Egyptian goddesses on both the internal and external faces of the coffin trough, where Tarka was lifted out. Tarka Habib was lifted out. Her coffin is amazing. So lovely. It's beautiful. All the paintings are so well preserved and kind of like a work of art. Both figures are representations of the Egyptian goddess Amulet, or Emeta, known as She of the West, or sometimes Lady of the West. It was a great surprise to see these paintings appear, said Dr. Hall, Collector's Officer for Perth Museum and Art Gallery. We had never had a reason to lift the whole thing so high so that we could see underneath on the bottom of the trough, and had never lifted the mummy out before and didn't expect to see anything there. So amazing. So, to get a painting on both surfaces is a real bonus and gives us something extra special to share with visitors. Further research will be carried out on the paintings to find out more about the history of the mummy, believed to date somewhere between 760 and 525 BC. The painting on the interior of the base and the coffin trough was previously hidden by Tarka Harib and is the best preserved of the two. It shows Ameta looking right and wearing her typical red dress. Her arms are slightly outstretched and she is standing on a platform indicating the depiction of a holy statue or processional figure. Usually, the platform is supported by a pole or column. One of these can be seen underside of the coffin trough. Conservators clean the front of the coffin in preparation for its presentation at the new Perth City Hall, which will open as a museum in 2022. Oh, that's amazing. So it's got lots of artwork from the Egyptians. Go and have a look at this. This is so amazing. Really good. And by the way, if you can hear beeping and knocking, we are stuck today, this week. We're stuck in between two building sites. Both neighbours are having their houses maintained. It's a tussle of if they knock together or bang and make noises. That sounds really bad, but you know what I mean. If there's any disturbance on the podcast, I do apologise this week. So we get to trial of the week is something I found about a couple of weeks ago. It's a tiny little trial of the week. Time Out has reported on their Instagram. Last night, a giant smiley face appeared on the side of the Houses of Parliament. The 25-metre wide emoji was projected by a company to remind Londoners that there's always something to smile about. Don't worry, be happy. Oh, and wear a mask when you go out. I mean, why? First of all, they've got the picture of it. I urge you to go and have a look at this because I thought, oh my gosh, really? First of all, why isn't the emoji wearing a face mask? If they're outside the Houses of Parliament, they should have a little face mask over it. Second of all, why are they doing this? This is really... Why do they want to do this? First it was clapping, now it's giant smiley faces. I don't think that's helpful. If you're going to do that, why not put all the smiley faces on different buildings? That would remind us that we must smile as we go around. The only trouble with this is we've got a face mask on. So if we're smiling, nobody can see it. So It is ridiculous. I think what they're trying to get at is try and be happy with yourself and the situation. It will get better. That's what I think they're doing. So a nice little smiley face on the side of Parliament. So yeah, those are my articles. Please like, please share, and please subscribe. And I will see you in my next podcast.